In early June of 2013, The Guardian broke a story based on documents acquired from an undisclosed third party, stating that the National Security Agency was collecting the phone records of millions of Americans. The publication revealed that a secret court order had directed Verizon to pass on all of the company's client telephone data to the NSA on a, quote, ongoing basis. The Guardian and the Washington Post then released additional information stating that the NSA and UK equivalent, the GCHQ, had tapped into servers of internet firms such as Google and Microsoft to track online communications as part of a program called PRISM. A second story revealed the NSA tool Boundless Information, which tracks the location of collected data. It wasn't until after these leaks that Edward Snowden, commonly labeled as an ex-CIA systems analyst, revealed himself as the man behind the leaks. At this point, Snowden was residing in Hong Kong, where he had passed the classified documents onto Glenn Greenwald of The Guardian and documentarian Laura Poitras after fleeing the United States. Further news stories based on Snowden's NSA documents revealed that the NSA and GCHQ had been tapping fiber optic cables to collect short and long-term data. Further leaks expressed international phone tapping of leaders including German Chancellor Angela Merkel by the NSA. Since passing leaked documents to the United States media, Snowden has received temporary asylum in Russia. Since seeking protection in Russia, little has been heard from the now 30-year-old high school dropout who leaked some of the United States' best-kept secrets. That is, until last Friday, when Edward Snowden spoke with the United States press for the first time since seeking asylum. Brian Williams of NBC sat down with Snowden for a reported 5 hours, which were televised in an NBC special titled Inside the Mind of Edward Snowden. In the interview, Snowden was offered wide, open-ended questions in which he could offer virtually whatever information he wished to share. One of the largest revelations expressed in the interview, and the news that has warranted the most media and political attention, was Snowden's statement that he was trained as a spy by the United States and had held a variety of high-ranking positions that ranged beyond the title of low-level systems administrator that the NSA had labeled him within the media.
I was trained as a spy in sort of the traditional sense of the word, in that I lived and worked undercover overseas, pretending to work in a job that I'm not, and even being assigned a name that was not mine. Now, the government might deny these things. They might frame it in certain ways and say, oh, well, you know, he's a low-level analyst. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to use one position that I've had in a career here or there to distract from the totality of my experience.
Snowden also used the televised interview as an opportunity to attempt to clear up what he considered to be falsehoods or oversimplifications that had been spread by members of the government and mainstream media. Snowden adamantly rebuked the theory that he was in any way affiliated or in cahoots with the Russian government. Snowden went on to criticize Russian media and freedom of speech laws, including the nation's mandatory blogger registration.
Right, so I have no relationship with the Russian government at all. I've never met the Russian president. I'm not supported by the Russian government. I'm not taking money from the Russian government. I'm not a spy, which is the real question.
Snowden went on to knock down accusations that he was still in possession of NSA documents. In the interview, Snowden reiterated that he had turned over all documents to the journalists that he had met with in Hong Kong, and therefore did not bring any files to Russia, nor did he have access to them remotely. Snowden also reiterated that the documents had not entered the hands of either the Chinese or Russian governments.
Today, I hold no documents at all. I didn't want to risk bringing them through Russia. Now, I could have held on to that and tried to use it to threaten the government. I could have used it to try to sell it or enrich myself, but that would have gone against everything that I was trying to do.
Snowden also emphasized the breadth of the NSA access. At one point, Williams pulled out a cell phone which he referred to as a burner, or a disposable phone, which are considered untraceable. Snowden was quick to squash that theory, stating that any intelligence service with a decent budget and staff could hack any phone within seconds of activation, burner or network.
Any intelligence service in the world that has significant funding and a real technological research team can own that phone the minute it connects to their network. As soon as you turn it on, it can be theirs. They can turn it into a microphone, they can take pictures from it, they can take the data off.
Snowden has received significant criticism for working outside of the system instead of expressing concerns to the NSA. For the first time, Snowden revealed that he did attempt to work through official channels, expressing his concerns to colleagues and supervisors, many of whom were either shocked by the information or agreed with him, but cautioned him against fighting the system. Snowden said he was told, quote, more or less in bureaucratic language, that he should stop asking questions. He went on to reveal that he had formally written to the NSA voicing his concerns but had received no response. NBC filed a Freedom of Information Act and was able to receive proof that Snowden had attempted to contact NSA officials at least once to express his concerns via email. The entire interview was conducted reverently. Williams listened more than he spoke in slow-pitch questions that Snowden could answer in just about any way he pleased. NBC ran an expertly organized social media to the interview in which viewers expressed mixed opinions. Some believe that Williams went too easy on Snowden, offering him too many opportunities to justify himself, and avoided asking pointed questions that could lay blame on the whistleblower. Others felt that Williams' mild questions were a strong attempt to press objectivity. The press coverage following the interview echoed a similar mixed bag of contempt over the simplicity of Brian Williams' work and rounds of applause for his lack of judgment. Greta Van Susteren of Fox News' On the Record defended Williams' work on her blog Greta Wire. Susteren said, quote, "I just heard some people on TV talking about the Brian Williams interview with Edward Snowden. They were critical of Williams because he did not tear Snowden apart limb by limb. This is more entertainment TV than journalism to me. I heard part of the interview and I learned some things from it. That is why I watch. I watch because I am curious. I want to learn some things that I did not already know. I don't watch for a slugfest or to be force-fed by the interviewer's opinion, obviously injected. I just want information." In contrast, Dan Kaplan of New York Daily News criticized Williams for failing to dig deeply with his questions to Snowden. In an article published Friday, Kaplan said, quote, "Williams grilled Snowden about his motives and responsibility for the largest security breach in U.S. history, but many of Snowden's answers were unsatisfying, and Williams failed to push for examples of exactly how government surveillance had harmed anyone. Most noticeably, Williams seemed to let Snowden ramble on and get away with saying exactly what he wanted." The interview was broken up by commercial breaks and in-newsroom comments from Williams. In classic mainstream syndicated style, dramatic music played in the background, while Snowden's face, half-filtered blue, half-filtered red, flashed behind the newscaster's head with the program title, Inside the Mind of Edward Snowden, appearing overhead. Flashy displays, supplemented with rhetoric like traitor, fugitive, and espionage, paired strangely with Williams' calm, measured demeanor presented in the interview segments. Though Snowden was just as, if not more calculated and prepared than his interviewer, motifs of patriotism, civic duty, and civil disobedience were common in his responses.
You know, I think patriot is a word that's thrown around so much that it can be devalued nowadays. But being a patriot doesn't mean prioritizing service to government above all else. Being a patriot means knowing when to protect your country, knowing when to protect your Constitution, knowing when to protect your countrymen from the violations of and encroachments of adversaries. And those adversaries don't have to be foreign countries. They can be bad policies. They can be officials who, need a little bit more accountability. Sometimes to do the right thing, you have to break a law. And the key there is in terms of civil disobedience. You have to make sure that what you're risking, what you're bringing onto yourself, does not serve as a detriment.
Snowden went on to state that he loves his country, as he has repeatedly done in other media opportunities, including his appearance by closed-circuit video at South by Southwest. Yet politicians continued to speak out against him, encouraging him to return to the U.S. to, quote, face the music. Following the Williams interview, Secretary of State John Kerry stated his continued disdain for Snowden in a comment to MSNBC's Chuck Todd.
Edward Snowden is a coward, he is a traitor, and he has betrayed his country. And if he wants to come home tomorrow to face the music, he can do so.
With Snowden's temporary amnesty up this summer, his fate hangs in the balance. Only time will tell if he will be forced to return to face the music, or if he will be able to continue to seek asylum away from a government who views him as a traitor. For WRFI Radio News, I'm Katelyn Harrop.